Indivisible.
Please call the roll.
Mayor Yukich,
Present.
Trustee Varian,
Present.
Trustee Nasty-Turkey,
Present.
Trustee Suisse,
Present.
Trustee Rogers,
Present.
Trustee Cabrio,
Present.
Trustee Grant.
Present. Thank you. Are there any amendments to the agenda? Okay. Is there a motion to approve the minutes of December 27th, 2017 Committee of the Whole meeting? So moved. Trustee Caprio?
I'll second.
Trustee Suisse? Any discussion? All in favor?
Aye.
All opposed? Motion carries. Is there a motion to approve the minutes of January 17th, 2018 Committee of the Whole meeting?
So moved.
Trustee Trachey?
Second.
Trustee Gurian? Any discussion? All in favor?
Aye.
All opposed? Motion carries. Reports and communications from the mayor and other officers. As a reminder, Village Hall will be closed on Monday, February 19th in observance of President's Day. Regular business hours will resume on Tuesday, February 20th. Glen has been given the 5th safest city of Illinois again, and is as for one of the safest cities in Illinois, 2018 list. Ready to go over, Glen? Thank you, Jim. We appreciate it very much. Will County Division of Transportation public meeting. The Will County Division of Transportation invites you to attend an open house public meeting to learn about the proposed improvements at 143rd Street between Lamont Road, State Street, and Bell Road. The meeting will be held on Wednesday, March 7th, 2018 at 4 p.m. It will be located at the Hadley Middle School at 15731 Bell Road, Homer, Glen. We want to thank you, Homer Township Road District. Earlier this week, Homer Glen was hit between 24 and 28 inches of snow. We would like to thank Homer Township Highway Commissioner Mike DeVivo and the Homer Township Road District for working so hard and making sure the roads were cleared. They were out there every day. We thank you for your dedication and hard work. And that's it for me. So we'll start out with Keith.
No reports, Mayor.
Trustee Drake.
No report.
Trustee Drake.
No report this evening, Mayor.
Trustee Rogers.
Reporting on behalf of Public Safety, our April meeting will be held at the new Sheriff's Department on Laraway. What's the exact address?
It's 16911 West Laraway Road in Joliet.
And we invite all of the trustees and yourself to come and take a tour of the new facilities, and that'll be the first instead of our April here, so we'll establish a forum here and then we'll go over there. That's all I have.
Thank you. Trustee Suisse.
No report.
Trustee Cameron.
No report, Mayor.
That's quick. Okay, then we have. Does the treasurer have a report?
No report, Mayor.
Does the village clerk have a report?
No, I do not.
Village attorney?
No report.
Public safety?
Sorry, I'm around.
And Jim, we appreciate everything you guys do for us.
Oh, you're kind. Thank you.
And Commander Bauer getting shot,
Yeah,
it's an absolute shame, and give our best to the family.
Absolutely. I just want to let the village know that we plan on sending representation from the Sheriff's Department, but a couple of us are on the honor guard, so we will represent the village of Homer Glen as well when we go pay our respects.
Thank you.
So thank you for that. Yeah, our hearts go out to the city of Chicago, especially the PD and the family of Commander Bauer. Following up on what you said, I thank you for the accolades as far as the compliment of keeping the village, the 5th safest in the state of Illinois. But we're only as good as the village board that we work with, and the public we work with hand in hand. because we can't do it by ourselves. We take pride in working hand in hand with the community, and we are very honored to serve and protect this community and look forward to doing it in the future. So the compliments go to the board, the public, the fire departments, the public safety organizations, and we're proud to play a part in that role. And with that, that's my report. Thank you.
Very much. Village manager.
No report, Mayor.
Public comment is next. We'll start out with Katie Lindgren.
Thank you and good evening. My name is Katie Lindgren, 15-year resident of Homer Glen and single mother of 4 who spent the better part of the last 2 years surviving off of student loans, an extreme part-time job, and family generosity. I did this while completing a 3-year graduate program from Northwestern University in a mere 19 months. To say life has been challenging is an understatement, but none more challenging than trying to balance my bills while attempting to both feed and clothe my children. Month after month, I found my frustration growing, particularly with Illinois American Water and the exorbitant bills that I receive. I have had to choose way too many times between feeding my children or paying my utilities. I recently created a Facebook page. Some of you are already members, and for that I'm grateful, as the Village of Homer Glen community wishes our concerns to be transparent. This page was created as a platform for all Illinois American Water concerns and questions to be centrally located instead of across multiple vehicles, and for a safe place to share concerns and engage in healthy, respectful debate. I have collected many questions, both publicly and privately, and condensed them into areas that appear to be of the largest concern. It is the desire of the community that these questions be addressed by this board within 2 weeks, preferably as a statement on the Village of Homer Glen website page, so that everybody has availability to the information you provide. I will also post a reply on the Facebook page to make it even easier for everyone to find. We thank you in advance for your cooperation. The questions themselves seem to stem from the general concern of billing, but also multiple areas of interest. They are also drawn from the belief that this administration is not being forthright about what is occurring with Illinois American Water and not sharing important information. In other words, the community feels left out of the conversation. I repeat that this appears to be the belief of many of the taxpaying voters, and I've done my best to provide concise and accurate questions. In an effort to save time, I will not read the questions aloud tonight. Instead, the questions have been sent in the form of an email to the Honorable Mayor, posted on the Citizens Against Illinois American Water Facebook page, and have been provided to the clerk tonight. I again repeat that these are summarized questions, and I've done my best to put together as an effort to attain information from the community. Although some, if not most, of the answers may be available with some research, most people do not realize, nor do they have the time to look into such matters. If this administration would kindly address our concerns and begin to give the appearance of greater transparency, it would alleviate many of the concerns and fears felt amongst the tax-paying and voting community. We may have more questions in the future, but for now we just want the doors of communication opened with the questions we have asked. On behalf of the citizens of Homer Glen and the Citizens Against Illinois American Water, I humbly thank you for your time and consideration.
Thank you. John Clay.
Well, a couple of these that I can show this to before the meeting, you're going to have to get them. I agree with the lady says, young lady. And about 6 months ago or 9 months ago, I had brought up one thing that I didn't care about what's going on with Illinois American Water. How about, I suggested that we possibly get a plumbing company come in and install maybe in 10 or 15 homes meters attached to or in the vicinity of Illinois American meters to check to see if their readings are right, or is it going to be another Tinley Park deal where with the meters all screwed up and everybody's paying excess water fees. Even I know we are paying excess water fees. It's ridiculous and everybody knows that. Alright, but anyway, with them pictures, most of you guys seen them. We have sidewalks in the village, and the problem is like now with Bell Road. Part of Bell Road has a few areas that do have the sidewalks. And now there's a woman in them pictures walking down the road. I tried to stop and all I got was, horns blowing at me, and she kind of ignored me. But, I mean, somebody's gonna get hit, and then, what is it? I think it's 2 years ago, you guys said we're gonna put sidewalks in on 143rd Street. When are we gonna put them in? Who's gonna maintain them, the village or the homeowners that back up to them? I don't think the homeowners are gonna take, shovel the snow in the winters. But we have to start protecting our citizens, from doing stuff like that lady is doing, walking down a main highway. It's, somebody's gonna get killed one of these days, especially when there is a sidewalk there, but nobody's maintaining it. So, part of that sidewalk though is ComEd's. So, ComEd, I think we should talk about it. Can you clean it or give us a discount on our bike trails that follow under yours? That way at least we can hire somebody to clean it. So, other than that, I'd like to get a comment, but nobody wants to do it about 143rd Street when we're going to get that sidewalk from White Castle to Wilcook Road. Nobody knows about it.
They're going to be talking to us next week, so why don't you go to the meeting?
All right,
This way we can find out right from the horse's mouth.
thank you.
Okay. Josh, Lund? And when you guys are done talking about Illinois American Water, I'll fill you in on where it's at. Unfortunately, there's not a lot to inform you with, but I'll get you what I have.
I have to say Katie stole most of my thunder because she got to go first and had a lot to say. But really the reason, and it sounds like you may have some more information, which is exactly what I'd come to ask for, because there are a lot of minutes of the Northern Will County Water Agency for the last 3 years even that say that they're going into executive session to discuss litigation. I understand that that is obviously what you have to do in the case of litigation, of course. This is, if it's a legal proceeding, but it does feel like money is being spent and we don't know exactly what's going on. We just want to know how we can fix this, because you all live here too, and you're all watching your water bills go the same direction that we are, and our wallets are not going to let us forget about this. So we just want to know where we're at, and we want to let you know, please, if there's a way that we can put a little more pressure on this issue, we could really use the relief.
Thank you. Leah Howard?
Hi everyone. Katie did steal everybody's thunder with the Illinois American Water, but I'm here for the same reason. I recently bought my first home here in Homer Glen in July of last year, and I was fair warned, hey, the water bills are going to be high, and coming from a single family home with my parents and paying the bill there in Mokina to double, triple, quadrupling that bill here for just myself was very overwhelming, especially as a single person who is now taking on bills that I haven't had to take on before. And seeing on Facebook and seeing the posts and talking to people who are all saying, oh yeah, this is what it is, this is just kind of what we deal with here in Homer Glen, it's very frustrating, because I've never come to a town hall meeting before, I've never gotten involved in anything before, but this is something where financially it's really starting to take a toll on myself. And I actually just had Illinois American Water at my house today, because I was consistently having, my regular water usage, and then all of a sudden for this last one, it was more than double my regular usage. So I tried to question them about it, and he comes out, he's like, well, you don't have any leaks, you don't have anything. Well, we can swap out the meter if you want, but really that's all we can do, and then we can get, you'd have to get a plumber if you feel there's another issue. That's not an answer to me. That's not anybody taking responsibility. That's just saying, well, this is just what we're going to charge you, and you have to deal with it. So I feel like they just kind of got us by the cojones, for lack of a better word here. And it's very frustrating. And I just wanted to kind of come here and say my perspective as a new Homer Glen resident, and kind of show my face and see if there's any more information, anything else that can be done about it. So, thank you.
Thank you. I agree with all three of you, and for the whole village, the water bills are ridiculous. Mine run around $250 to $300 every month. Then I've got friends that live in Orland Park, and there's $90 for 3 months. We are kind of stuck behind an 8 ball here. They own the infrastructure, they own the water line. The one way we could get around it is buy the infrastructure. If we bought it, we don't have an exact price because we knew it wouldn't be feasible for us to buy it. We'd probably be looking at $300, $400 million to buy Everett's infrastructure, and it's an aging infrastructure. As for the water line, when I first became mayor, I sat down with the lawyer that is handling the suit for us, and I asked him, where's our benefit? He said, well, if you get the water lines here, you can control the cost of the water line. The problem is we're not going to use it. We're selling the water to IEW, and they can charge whatever they want. The suit that we're in, we can't get out of. We try to step out of the suit, we still have to pay, just we're paying right now. We won the first round with Illinois American Water, where right now the judges hearing the case agrees that it is outrageous. But other than that, we don't really have an answer, because as soon as we won it, they put it up for another trial. We're trying to, right now we're going to be putting in a water line ourselves. We're paying for the water line, we're paying for the sewer line. It'll be going from Cedar down to Galvin and then spur off from there. We will own the line until they are completely paid for. But then after that it goes back to Illinois American Water. Illinois American Water doesn't pay for anything. Any new structures that go in are given to them, where we have to pay for everything. So for the water right now, the only thing that I can suggest is after the suit is over, and hopefully that's within a year or two, and there's no telling right now because they just keep bringing it up. They just keep doing it. They're saying that we didn't offer them enough money for the pipeline. The judge disagrees, feels that we offered them well enough, but they're still coming after them for more. They don't want to lose this, because if they lose this, they could lose a lot more. As for the village, we are doing the best we possibly can, and the reason we don't say a lot about it is because there's not a lot I can tell you. I don't want to make something up, I just want to tell you what's happening right now, and it's out of our control. I would like to be able to sit down with the ICC and be able to do the Illinois American Water gets to, and they're the ones that keep charging us and keep getting the raise every year. But every time we made a phone call to see if we can get together, we even told them we'd get them up here. We'll pay for you to come up, and we'll put you in a hotel. They don't want to talk to us. We have some new people that are going to be in office. We have an election coming up. When they get situated, I'd like to be able to sit down with them and have this is an opportunity to explain what we're doing. One thing that I would do is the meetings are very short that we do have, but if a bunch of people started showing up in it could help. I mean, there's strength in numbers. It's the people that do go to meetings right now are all the mayors, the village managers, some lawyers for the village, and then some lawyers for Northern Illinois group. And they always have people there from IEW. So I think that if the village did get involved a little bit more, write letters to your cards, write letters to your senators, write letters to everybody. I think we are either the highest or the second highest in the state for water and sewer. And the infrastructure, what I'm talking about too, is, we don't own the sewer lines either. Water lines and sewer lines are theirs. And then late at the end of the tunnel, it's there. I'm just hoping it's not a train, because we don't know what's going to happen. So, I mean, if anyone has any questions, if I can't answer them, I'll get you an answer for it. My phone number is on all the business cards. My phone number is on the village. It's my cell number, so you can reach me anytime. I'll give you all the information that I can get you. But I mean, I am limited because it's in court, and we don't have any idea what's going to happen for right now. It is sad that you have to pay that much. And I have had some residents tell me they don't even flush the toilets until once a day because they don't want to use the water. To me, that's sad. But the best thing to do is, next time we have a meeting, Mike, do we have a date set for the next meeting?
There is a date set, I don't know it off the top of my head.
All right. What we can do is we'll put it online, where the meeting's gonna be, what time it's gonna be. I think it'd be a good idea if some people showed up. They own it, so I don't know what we can do with it. I hate to speculate, so come to the meeting, and then from there, if we can get enough people to where we can have one here and have IAW here, voice your concerns, and then if we can get it bigger, well, like I said, the strength of numbers. The only way I see anything happening is it has to be heard up there, other than just a few people to come to the meetings and talk about it. But,
If I can I say something?
sure.
I do want to assure the residents that this entire board, and I feel comfortable speaking for the entire board when I say that the water issue is definitely 100% hands down our number one concern. If you could sit in those executive sessions with us, you would hear the passion that we have over this issue and how angry it makes us. Just like the gentleman said in the back, and like George had said, it is in litigation, so there's only so much we can share and only so much we even know. I know that the other lady in the back had spoke about her Facebook comment. I actually read your Facebook comment, and I wanted to get in there with you and be like, yeah, you know, American Water, I'm so mad too, but I mean, the Facebook is out there, and everybody knows American Water, Frenchman sucks. I mean, we don't like this water bill. I know that we planned, well, I didn't plan it, but someone else may have planned this meeting that a bunch of people were rallying together to ask American Water all these questions, and they canceled the meeting, isn't that correct?
Yes.
They were afraid of all
Yes,
the
they
people.
lied and they said that the library, they couldn't fit all these people. So
Right.
then they said a webinar, some kind of
Right,
webinar,
right.
and then they wouldn't answer any of the questions that we had today.
So one of my suggestions would be for this next meeting that we're gonna find out, we'll get on that Facebook page, we'll post it out there. I'm happy to share any information I do, or I have. Maybe not let them know we're coming. Let, you know, do it privately, get a group together and show up at the meetings, and they don't know. This way they have to answer you. You're there right in front of them. You can't scare them this time, right? So I just wanted to assure you that we do care. We are trying. We're doing our best. But again, it is in litigation. There's only so much we can tell you. And I haven't seen the questions yet, so I mean, if I know any of the answers, I will call you and tell you, but I haven't seen them yet. That's all. Thank you.
I'd like to mention also, I know that we're limited in what we can say because of the litigation, and we can't comment on that, and maybe the attorney can answer this for me. What these people, and myself and all of us, are really suffering from is really, right now, bad customer service. Like she said, her water usage doubled in 1 month. I'm assuming it's one person in this house, I'm not sure. You know, and the answer is, well, go get a plumber if you want. Well, that's not really a reasonable answer. You know, you wouldn't expect that from your Ford dealer or your Chevy dealer if you went in, you know, if they just kind of give you a flippant answer like that. So can we, outside of the context of the lawsuit that we're in with them, can we, as a village, as the board, as the manager of the village, go after them and ask them to raise up their levels of customer service, customer engagement, maybe meeting with the community, you know, on an annual basis, biannual basis, something like that. Will that put us in any jeopardy as far as the lawsuit goes?
No, we still, go ahead.
Well, I don't want to speak on the lawsuit right now. I'm not up to date on that. I'm not so to speak on that, but I would imagine that as a citizen, you can ask somebody to improve their customer service.
Right, but we already have citizens obviously talking to them, getting short shrift. Can we as a board, can we as a village go, you know, and ask them to improve those things? And again, not going against the strictures of the lawsuit.
Well, we have. I mean, I've had people call me and tell me that the Illinois American Water that told you to get a change in your meter. For the last 2 years, they've been changing out the meters. So there are two things that I know you can do. If they haven't changed out, you call them, they put in a new meter. You also have to check the size of the pipe going into the house. A lot of builders put a 1 inch pipe in. 1 inch pipe isn't needed. 3/4 inch pipe or 1/2 inch pipe is what we're saying. You can use it and it'll still give you just as much pressure for the house that you're in. Unless you're in a multi-level to where you're trying to push the water everywhere. That can also cut down your water bill. As for the meter that's free, they have to change it. They want to change it because they say that after a few years, and I think it's 10, they change them automatically because they don't think that they are registered the way they should be. One other question that I have to ask, my wife told me not to, but I'm still going to ask. I lived in a house that had we were on well water. We had the salt, we had the softener, and everything was always fine. I mean, you paid a lot of money for the salt, but it still worked. Now we have Chicago water. I grew up in Evergreen Park, and they had Chicago water. I love Chicago water. And we came out to the house that we're in now, and it's strange because we use the toilets all the time. It's probably why our water bill's so high. But, and I told the village manager a few times, there's rings that are starting to form in around the toilets. Never had it in Chicago water. It was always clean. I mean, you clean your washers, but you go a day and you got a ring. I don't understand it. So I told them that what I thought we should do is we should set some samples up just to make sure that the water that they are giving us is what we're paying for. But just out of curiosity's sake, anyone got ring around the toilet that they see, and it's not something that is normal?
I moved from the city, I would say 5 years ago. We never had a plan with rings around the toilets or, the red rings or anything like that. The texture that you feel that you gotta clean at least every couple of days. We never had that issue. So if it's the same water, how come it's not reacting the same way?
Okay, then we gotta talk. Not a problem.
There were people also about the other issue, they were in summer. Some people had their water cut out because according to Illinois American Water, they didn't pay their bill. They have proof that they paid the bill and they still cut the water out. So is that even legal? I mean, can we start breaking down on them on the law? Because that's illegal. They had kids under 3 years old. She was begging to please not do that. Not only they cut the water, but then they charge her to reinstall the water service. So that's like a double, I guess, law breaking, whatever. I don't know the rules, but I will assume that's illegal for them to do.
Well, I apologize. I didn't hear too much of what you said. I'm pretty clogged, so my ears aren't working, but they're all down their heads, so they heard you. We'll look into whatever you would like to. Write down a list, get it to the village. I can give it to our lawyers that are handling the suit. And I would still like to see as many concerns as possible put down on paper and brought to us. Because I know if you wanted to see the ICC, you've got to go down to Springfield. They're not coming up here. But if you do the letters, we can get them to them. And then we're going to see if there's a possibility to where we can go down without a bunch of people. I don't think they want to get out of that. That's pretty much what's going to happen. Because they've given Illinois American Water a raise every time they've come. They've never turned them down. Other than that, get me whatever information you have. Call me if you want to call me. Like I said, my cell phone's on the business card.
Can you release the names of whoever is the persons that approved by name? Who is the one in Springfield that approved this raise of water? Because that should be public notice, it's not in litigation. Something you guys can do?
Yeah, that's all publicly available, absolutely.
Yep.
Yeah.
Okay.
One question I would have is, when we talk about a lack of transparency, I think, and I don't want to put words in your mouth, I think we're referring to the water agency, correct? Not necessarily the village, but the water agency. And that litigation, right? Because I think an important thing in this is, one of the things we've prided ourselves on, and this is prior to this administration, but this town is one of the most transparent towns. When you go to, and I spend a lot of time on our website and other village websites, pardon me, and we have more information readily available than any town I'm aware of. So I just want to make sure that if there's information that us as a village you think should be providing, and again, I haven't seen your questions, fantastic, and we'll address those. But if it's to the water agency, as a separate entity, we're one of those villages, and that's not just Homer Glen, but that's something that certainly could be potentially addressed. The one thing I would say with regards to the water agency is if we're going to, at least on the next meeting, try to drive people and residents to that meeting, maybe we should look at a time that is more opportune for residents and not middle of the day type meetings that I know they're typically held at. So there are things that we can help push on, and I just just want to make sure that we're hearing you correctly, and I think most of what you're talking about is directed at the water agency and not necessarily this.
John?
For this young lady over there, Illinois said, get yourself a plumber. If you need a plumber, I know a good one. I'll even pay for it. And that's like I say, put on these check meters. You know what I mean? To check. Orland does it. Call Orland and ask them how they go about it. But like I say, we have to keep an eye on Illinois American Water. They're out for no one but themselves.
Well, the bill is very clear. The bill, it's, I would say 80 to 70% is fees. So you cannot use the water, and there's proof, because there's people that have gone out of town, they have plane tickets, we can prove it. I mean, we can run an experiment where we don't use the water, and the bill really doesn't fluctuate much. So not flushing the toilet ain't gonna save us money. Which is why we're all so mad, because they have told us, well, this is what you can do to save on water. Well, I can literally, collect rainwater. I will not reduce my water bill at all. So obviously, they're in to make beyond, profit. It's just illegal profit. So.
And not to draw this out, but you're absolutely right. You're charged a minimum every month. I think my minimum is 6,000 gallons a month.
Yeah.
My bill is $257 this past month. I'm in the same boat.
It's a car payment. It's ridiculous. I don't think in areas like Wilmette, where people can actually afford that, we'll be okay with it. So it's they're taking us for a ride.
Okay. If there are any questions, please call me or write something down, bring it to the village, email it to me. My email address is on there too. If you talk to anyone of the trustees, will do the exact same thing. We want to make sure that we are watching out for you, because we're also watching out for us. So.
And we'll be sure to post that meeting on the village's website, this week, so we know. Or, well, actually, maybe not this week if we're going to try to get it moved to an evening. Because like they said, right now it is in the middle of the day, so it's difficult for people to have to come to the middle of the day. So.
And if you got some good ideas, let's have some ideas, because we've run out of them. Yes?
What about wells? What about a well?
The western suburbs do it.
Well,
And I love the lake water, I do, but
But we're not getting lake water, right?
but what if? Yeah, well, we might not be getting lake water anyway.
true. You can put a well in. You can't put it in the house if you have Chicago water coming into the house. You cannot mix it.
I mean, for the community. Say us.
Well, then it goes back to what I said before. We don't own the infrastructure. We don't own the pipes going to your house to get the water. We don't own the sewer pipes. Both of them are owned by Illinois American Water. So even if we've done a well, they're still going to charge us to use the pipes. And you know what? They can charge us anything they want. That's what they've been doing.
That's wrong.
We have to bring it up to the point to where people downstate and throughout the country, because Illinois American Water is everywhere. They're going to go, oh, no, they just took over some stuff in Indiana, and the deal they gave them in Indiana, God, I'd love to have it here, but that's not going to happen. Unfortunately, we never had an agreement on the price of water. When it was Citizens, everything was good. When Illinois American Water bought it, they just took over and they charged what they want to charge us.
People accepted it.
Wait, whoever said something,
Some people accepted it.
well, you know what? They didn't think it would get as bad as it is. I've had friends of mine come in.
I mean, I have two kids that went to college, and it's just me and my wife, and the water doubled.
Yeah.
I'm paying $200, and my kids, I mean, when I had my son home, showering forever, okay, I could accept it. But now, everybody's gone, it's just me and my wife, and there's nothing left. I'm to abuse water. I don't water my lawn, I don't do anything. I'm still paying $200. It's going up instead of going down.
You're right.
That's terrible. That's wrong.
And you gotta pay for the water. maybe $70.
Somebody is getting their hands pounded on my account. That's what I feel. That's what I feel.
You know, you would ask who downstate can you contact or keep an eye on for this? And really, that starts with the governor. The governor appoints all of the ICC commissioners, the Illinois Commerce Commission. IAW can only set the rates. Pardon me?
That's why we appoint you guys. Do this stuff for us.
Right, we have reached out to the ICC. Like the mayor had said, you know, there are strength in numbers, and the ICC, the IAW has to go before the ICC to get any rate increases. And the ICC so far has given them everything they wanted. They've never pushed back against them.
Plus more. Last time we gave more than they actually asked for.
So really, it starts with, like the mayor said, you know, we need to contact Jim Durkin, our representative in the state house, John Curran, our senator in the state capitol, the governor's office, and ask them to push back against the ICC commissioners or appoint new commissioners.
If you start a petition, I'll take it to door to door. I'm retired now, so I'll take it door to door and make a sign. There's something to come out here from.
Like I said, strength in numbers is very big. Yes, sir.
Mr. Mayor, did you say that the ICC would not come up here?
No.
They won't come up here? They're a government.
And they won't let us go down.
Oh.
They will not set up a meeting.
Are they a government agency?
Yes, they are.
Yeah. Are we taxpayers?
Yes, we are.
Are we paying the second highest rates for water in the state?
We're either the first or the second. I know we're out there.
So we got a grievance with the ICC, and we want to meet with them, but yet we pay them via our tax dollars, but they won't come up and talk to us.
No.
How does that work?
We're trying to figure that one out too.
Yeah, I mean, that doesn't make any sense.
Social media nowadays, I want their names. Don't we all want their names? Because they're hiding behind the ICC. I don't care who the heck is ICC. I want names. We all want names. It's public records, so I want the names. I want to see if they still will approve, if we all know their names, and we can, I don't know, where they live. I'm not threatening, but I'm sure they're going to feel threatened that now they're not protected, because they're protected behind the identity of ICC. So we want names. We know your name. We know everyone's name, but we don't know their names. I don't think it's fair game. So how about we get their names? That's not under litigation.
That's on the website, on the ICC website.
It's on the website?
Yeah.
Okay.
Who did IAW purchase?
Okay. I'll make sure they get an email that I'm going to be putting it on Facebook.
Every complaint will help. What were you going to say?
Who did IAW purchase the facilities from? No. When there was a utilities company or water provider before the
Citizens.
From Citizens.
Right.
First mayor.
Okay, so and that was what, about 1975 to Citizens?
No, it's Illinois American Water hasn't been in business for that long.
No. It's 1997 maybe Illinois, but when Citizens put the facilities in, how long? When did they put them in?
I don't have that here in front of me, so I don't want to answer that until I know for sure.
Well, it would seem to me that the fixed costs keep rising on utilities and facilities that have been used for probably 40 years.
Using the same things.
Using the same things. These pipes and everything have been in the ground since 1975. And I could be off, but I think that's what I read. And IAW comes in 1997, and they're raising their fixed costs on and they're metering things that are coming in and going out on stuff that's been in the ground for 40 years. That's where they're making their money. They're not making their money providing water to Homer Glen. They're making their money by raising their fixed costs. And that's what's got to be addressed. At some point, their fixed costs cannot keep going up. If I'm using, I talked to my mom today, she lives in Burbank, uses $60 a month in water. $60. That's not a problem here in Homer Glen. You want to pay $60 for water? That's fine, that's acceptable. But when you're paying $250 just to get it to the house, that's unacceptable.
Well, if you look at your water bill, you look at your sewer bill. Your water bill's a lot less than your sewer bill is. Sewer bill's much higher.
Right.
That's where they hit you.
Because they meter.
Well, they meter the water, so whatever gallons go out is what they're saying gallons are going through the sewer system.
necessarily agree with the equation.
Well, it doesn't, but for me, we have a pool in the backyard, and I have one that I don't water either. So everything that we put in the pool, or if we do water the lawn, or water the trees, or the bushes, or whatever the case may be, that's still metered as if it was going through the house. Now, they will give you a separate meter if you want to measure the stuff that's going outside, but I don't trust the meter that they have there, so why would I trust two? But the sewer is your biggest cost on the water bill. But the water is still much higher than anywhere else you look at. And that's what stops a lot of people from coming in here. I think that comes in more than taxes here. Like you said, it's almost a car payment.
You know, and I have to agree, at some point, people are not going to want to move into Homer Glen because
They already don't.
Because of the
I'm in real estate, they already don't.
they already don't.
The word is getting out. So,
taxes and I mean, taxes are okay, but
yeah.
the water bill is outrageous.
It's just,
The what?
The taxes are comparable for the area, the water bills aren't, that's what's gonna stop.
Well, when you don't pay taxes, you pay water, so.
Well, here, let's do this, though, because we still have a meeting to get over with. Any questions you have, write them down, call me, email, whatever you want. If there's a trustee you want to talk to, the same thing. If you want to talk to something to the staff, get it to the staff. We should have a meeting, and I don't think we should let them know we're having a meeting with a bunch of people either. Set up a meeting, we'll set up a meeting with Illinois American Water and see if we can get Mike Smith, who's the vice president. We'll see if we can get some of the big wigs here to hear how you feel about it.
George, can I just say one more thing too? Sure. Sorry. And as we're sitting up here in the middle of a board meeting and us being in litigation, I can't tell you to go pick it. I can't tell you to go do things in the middle of a meeting because we are in litigation and they can always hold it against us. So keep that in mind as well. So a nice little phone call, you know, or something, you know, where we can talk privately is, you know, maybe a better option too. Just so you guys know that too.
well, just to address what you just said. And I don't know how this would work, but I would suppose that there's a degree of client-attorney privilege involved, correct? Who's the ultimate client? We are. So if we have questions for the attorney, we should be able to ask him, the attorney that's heading off the litigation against IAW. We don't need to go via you. We should be able to have an open forum with the attorney.
You get a better answer from the attorney, because he knows more than what we do.
Well, that's maybe something we should consider as well, because you can't discuss it with us, but maybe we could discuss it with him.
But also keep in mind, the attorney charges us hourly as well, so every time somebody calls and asks them a question, you're also paying.
How much is the rate for the lawyer? Do you guys know how much is the rate for this attorney?
The attorney can't speak to the citizens and protect privileges if the client is the
Why not?
village board. So
Because it's the
that's
same-
just the way it
The
is.
money comes from all the taxpayers, we are the taxpayers.
But you would be exposing, they would be exposing the litigation to more problems than it would be solved.
As long as we're residents, I don't see
Right.
how legally that's a problem. I mean, we all have, you know, IDs that we can prove that we live here.
Right, I understand, but that's just the way that privilege works.
So we'll let you know when the next meeting is going to be. You're more than welcome to come. They have public comment. You're more than welcome to say something. Doesn't mean that they're going to answer, but at least they start hearing what you're saying. Yes, John, this last one, because we got to get going.
About 9 years ago, there was a lobbyist down in Springfield for Illinois American Water. Illinois American Water, I've been fighting with from the beginning for 45 years with the water companies that are out there. So anyway, they took this lobbyist, and one of the lobbyists got a better job, and they put him. And our governor at that time left, which I think was Quinn. I don't quote me on this, but I think it was Quinn. Left him to be on that board, and here he was a lobbyist for Illinois American Water. And
That's what they do.
And possibly a former employee. He's getting paid from Illinois American, you know, under the table. I would think, you know, it's stuff that you think, but you can't prove it. So, you know, that's why the internet, you know, and I'm not an internet person. I'm too old, so I forget.
It's all true on the internet.
Yeah, I can't say it's all true, but you know what I mean? Sometimes you can find stuff out that, you know, you aren't gonna find out anywhere else. But first you gotta get the name of who's in charge and everyone that's on that committee and what they did, what their background is.
We'll get all that information,
I think you have to.
and we'll put it online. And we'll give you the date for the next meeting, and I'm not sure which city or village it's gonna be, but I'll give you the information. So, and if you have any questions other than that, give us a call or send us an email or write us a letter. But that's it for public comment for now. We're in the legislation. Is there a motion to approve ordinance number 18-004, ordinance granting a variance to increase the maximum permitted height for a fence located on a corner side yard from 4 feet to 5 feet for certain real property located in an R3 single-family residential district, section 220-812A4, fences, walls, and swimming pools of chapter 220, zoning of the code of the village of Homer Glen, at 12228 West Shellmark Drive, Homer Glen, Illinois. Cordell, case number HG1802V.
So moved.
Wait a second.
I'll second.
Discussion.
I do have a comment, and maybe Senator McGinnis can give us a little bit of the background. But on attachment 9, where it shows this existing 5-foot aluminum fence, I'm taking it that he has that similar fence, but at 4 foot, and he wants to put a 5 foot, because then on page 44, it says the proposed, in this comment, the proposed 50% open aluminum fence, is he having it more solid?
No, he won't be replacing any portion of the fence. There's portions of the fence that already exist. In the pictures of one of the attachments, I'm not sure of the attachment number, there is a portion of the fence that's currently missing. That is the portion of the fence that the variance is referring to. He would like that portion of the fence to be 5 feet, so it is uniform across the whole property. Without the variance, we would have to go down to 4 for that one portion.
Okay, but it's going to look the same.
It will,
it's going to be the same.
It'll be totally
I just wanted to verify that.
Okay. Any other discussion? Madam Clerk, would you call the roll?
Trustee Gray?
Aye.
Trustee Caprio?
Aye.
Trustee Knights-Butricki?
Aye.
Trustee Barrett?
Aye.
Trustee Sweet?
Aye.
Trustee Rogers?
Aye.
Motion carries. Is there a motion to approve ordinance number 18-003, an ordinance amending 114-101 Development Services, Chapter 114, fees in the code of the village of Homer Glen?
So moved.
Trustee Varian?
Second.
Trustee Rogers? Discussion? Madam Clerk, could you please call the roll?
Trustee Caprio?
Aye.
Trustee Knights-Butricki?
Aye.
Trustee Rogers?
Aye.
Trustee Sweet? Aye. Trustee Barrett?
Aye.
Trustee Gray?
Aye.
If everyone on this side could do me a favor, talk louder. I hear this side, I can't hear you. Okay. Is there a motion to approve ordinance number 18-005, ordinance amending 10-6, membership of chapter 10, boards, commissions, committees, and task forces on the code of the village of Homer Glen? So moved. Thank you, Trustee Caprio.
Second.
Trustee Gray. Discussion? Madam Clerk, could you please call the roll?
Trustee Gray?
Aye.
Trustee Caprio?
Aye.
Trustee Rogers?
Aye.
Trustee Sweet?
Aye.
Trustee Barrett?
Aye.
Trustee Knights-Butricki?
Motion carries. Number 4, is there a motion to approve the village's 2018 Will County Governmental League membership dues in the amount of $16,987.92?
I so move.
Trustee Sweet?
Second.
Trustee Varian? Discussion?
Mayor, I would just say that the timing of this,
We're okay at this side.
the timing of this is interesting only because when we're talking about an annual membership with the governmental league of Will County. They are one of the front lines for us down in Springfield, pushing back against lots of the, I think, adverse effects on local government. Today, in a budget address, it was proposed, and I would say proposed, because it's the first step in a long process of a budget, but our 10% LGDF one-year cut last year was proposed today to another year, right? So the value in participating, you know, there's power in numbers, right, from the previous conversation. I think this is another example of that. When the towns get together through a governmental league, I think it helps with our advocacy down in Springfield to make sure that our voices are being heard while there's certainly financial pressures on the state. And we were, I wouldn't say happy, but I think all municipalities said last year we'll take the 1 year 10% hit to do our part in this. I think it's important that we continue to have voices like this in Springfield to push back on some of these shifting these solutions to the locals that have to pay for some of the core services that residents use daily.
They're looking to continue hitting the local sales tax too, aren't they, the collection fee?
They are. Yeah. Now again, this is, you know, this is only the very first step in the budgeting process. This is by no means that this is going to be the case when and if a budget is passed. But that's the point of groups like this, is to, push back and make sure that through that process of the budget, that our voices are being heard. So,
Thank you. We can get a hold of you and see what you can do. Yeah. Any other comments or? Okay. Madam Clerk, could you please call the roll?
Trustee Rogers?
Aye.
Trustee Spees?
Aye.
Trustee Nancy
Aye.
Trustee Gray?
Aye.
Trustee Varian?
Aye.
Trustee Caprio?
Aye.
Motion carries. Is there a motion to recommend approval for the pay estimate for supplement number 7, the general code for convocation services in an amount not to exceed $12,290?
I so move.
Trustee Caprio?
Second.
Trustee Gray? Discussion? Madam Clerk, could you please call the roll?
Trustee Nancy
Aye.
Trustee Gray?
Aye.
Trustee Varian?
Aye.
Trustee Rogers?
Aye.
Trustee Spees?
Aye.
Trustee Caprio?
Aye.
Motion carries. Number 6, is there a motion to approve pay estimate number 5 and 6 from Frank Barla and Sons Builders, Inc. for the Goodings Grove parking lot of $150,336.14.
I so move.
Trustee Caprio?
I'll second.
Trustee Suisse, discussion?
Are we still holding the 26 and the 22,000 retention and,
Correct.
okay, and how long will that be in place?
Well, we're going to hold the 5% retention until, that'll probably be sometime until spring, so that we make sure that the grass grows, and if there's any outstanding items. We are in current conversations with the builder regarding potential liquidated damages for delays on the project.
Okay. Thank you.
Any other questions? Madam Clerk, would you please call the roll?
Trustee Gray?
Aye.
Trustee Nancy
Aye.
Trustee Varian?
Aye.
Trustee Rogers?
Aye.
Trustee Spees?
Aye.
Trustee Caprio?
Aye.
Motion carries. Number 7, pay estimate number 3 from Aries Inc. for 2017 drainage improvement project from Erie Hill subdivision. Trustee Joyke?
Second.
Trustee Gray? Discussion?
Mike, can you give us cliff notes on this $20,000 change order? I did A&F, there was some who didn't hear that.
Yeah, there were a couple items that we, the village staff, had approved, or the village manager had approved. One of those items, the original plans that were prepared by Christopher Burke Engineering, the culvert that was to be lined was identified as a 30-inch on their plans. Well, it turned out it was actually a 36-inch.
So there was an upcharge for the contractor to provide the larger culvert lining. So that was one of them. Second addition was the culverts didn't have any flared end sections or grates on them. So as a safety precaution, there was an addition of putting those on there. That was the second upcharge, and then there was an extra work order or extra work that was done by the contractor that unfortunately the engineers, Christopher Burke, never notified the village of additional charges, and that was approximately, originally it was about a $21,000 upcharge, and that was negotiated with the contractor down to approximately $9,000. And that was for work related to conflicts with Comcast lines.
Thank you.
Any other questions? Madam Clerk, please call the roll.
Trustee Rogers? Aye. Trustee Spees?
Aye.
Trustee Turkey? Aye. Trustee Gray?
Aye.
Trustee Claudia?
Aye.
Trustee Barron?
Aye.
Motion carries. Number 8, is there a motion to approve TRIA Architecture Proposal Professional Design for Heritage Park amenities?
I so move.
Trustee Gabriel?
A second.
Trustee Rogers? Discussion?
Yes, Mayor, I'd like to ask a couple of questions. If Jim,
Do we want to come up to the podium, please?
and possibly to the village manager, is the 9% that this is automatically going through, is that the average? That something at over $1 million to 2 point something million, is that about the average?
That's in the range. If you recall, the original PRI estimate was actually at 12%. The way the master service contract reads is depending on the dollar amount, it's a sliding scale. So if it was a project that would fit out at 1.5, it would be a 9% fee based on the project bid. So that would, and that estimate would be roughly $144,000. If it was a $2 million bid, and this is for this focuses for the active play area, it would shift down to 8.5%. That estimate would be roughly $170,000. If the bid came in at $6 million, it would slide down to 8.25%. And in that example, it would be $214,500. So it's a sliding scale up and down based on the bid scale of the project scope. And Jim will get into this in a little bit. There's actually 2 components. There's the professional service for the design, the bid, and the management of the active play area. That's at that percentage based on the actual bid. There's also a time and material not to exceed $20,000 for the reconfirmation of estimates for the balance of the park, cost estimating, economies of scale, looking at what should go first, what should go second, kind of for that next phase.
So that the 9% does not include?
Does not include that. That's a separate area. That's so as we plan for the balance of the park, that we make sure that whatever we decide to move forward with, we are positioning it in the right way. We're not building something and then changing something shortly thereafter. And Jim could probably do a much better description of that. So I'm going to pass it over to you.
And also, Jim, can you tell us, because this active play area is pretty, there's a lot of things going on. What else have you done in the past similar to this, or can you give the board a little bit more detail of what have you done as far as park amenities?
Well, we worked on the original Heritage Park, right, with Planning Resources. We have a landscape, we have HR Green on this team, HR Green doing the civil engineering portion of this, and we have Greenberg Farrow doing the landscape architecture portion, and they've done their nationwide firm doing landscaping and everything. We're working on Goodings Grove Park right now behind Goodings Grove School, not your Goodings Grove Park, Goodings Grove School. That's something that TRIA is just doing ourselves. So we have the parks that we can do all this. We have the consultants that will make this project go fast. I mean, our goal right now is trying to get out as soon as approval, 2.5 to 3 months, and try to get it out for bid and get construction so we don't miss this summer.
What is the time frame? So the bid, how long is it going to take for those bids to get out?
If we get out in about 2.5 months and leave about 2-3 weeks for bidding, we can be back to the board there, so in 3 months. So that's our goal right now, and again, that is the caveat, as we always talked about. For us to hit this summer, that's the goal, to hit this summer and make sure that we have something being built as soon as possible. The process of debate and figuring out, what is in that plan or in the active court, or should be a tennis court, 2 tennis courts, or 3 or 4, that is kind of the decisions kind of been made. We're kind of, most of the decisions are going to be like, hey, what colors are we looking at, and bringing that stuff there and saying, you know, this is what it's going to look like, this is how we kind of made this all transpire, and the different levels, the pickleball, the sensory garden, and so forth. And the landscape architect that's working with us is prepared to show you all the diagrams and everything, show everything that's there. And if you can make quick decisions, we can do quick drawings and be on the street as soon as possible. And to confer what Mike was saying, so that is based on, our fee is based on, because our main contract, since we're going to go get bids, our fee is based on what the construction costs are. The second part, which is the master planning and pushing, kind of everything, and making sure that you can figure out what the economies of scale are, things that we want to do one before the other, right? So we're not painting ourselves in a corner, so forth, like we talked about at the last meeting. There's no construction to this, so our fee is not based on any type of construction. At the end of that master planning, the goal is for you to have a 1, 3, or 5-year plan or 10-year plan of how you're going to attain this project. So you can work with financing and say, this is how we're going to attain this, and this is what we want to do moving forward.
So everything listed in your letter of February 12, location, description of projects, that's what, from A to Q, that is what you're going to be looking at. Because I just see like F, shuffleboard courts. Who really has a shuffleboard equipment at their home? You're not supplying anything.
Again, this is going on the assumption that the master plan was there. There was a lot of community involvement in making this plan and making the active core and laying out the entire site, and identifying those items. So those are the items that went into the implementation plan. For me, I wouldn't tell you if it was a shuffleboard court or pickleball or challenge course. I would not be the guy walking through the challenge course, but as a community, everyone decided on these are the items and the amenities you wanted in the park. If that changes, then the board has to instruct us there.
Okay. All right.
Any other questions from Jim?
I have a question. If we go forward and we award a contract that was $2 million, $2.5 million, and as Manager Mertens was saying, we're on that sliding scale of fees, those fees include the oversight of the project? So we're not going to have another ordinance down the road after we approve that says now we need somebody to come in and manage all the people who are out there. That's part and parcel of that 8.25%.
Yeah, we don't build, so the caveat, we kind of have this conversation a lot with some clients. As architects, we design, we put it out there, and we're your owner's rep, essentially, out there. Trustee Burien and the mayor went through the Village Hall project, where tree architecture is kind of the lead with the contractors. So we beat up the contractors, make sure things were on time, we kept schedule, kept all the items that were there, and then any important or key questions we needed to bring back up to the board. So we managed all that process. That would be the same thing here. We design it, get it out to bid, we do all the contracts for the contractor, all the pay requests and so forth. We keep an eye on the contractor, make sure he's building it as per specifications. And then also, the neat part about this is making sure that we have HR Green on here, because they will have 2 other current projects going on at the same time, right? Finishing up the road, and then the 319 grant stuff, the detention items. So we've already told them that, hey, if you're working on this, we've included in our fee Our landscape architect is going to be working with HR Green to say, if there's things that you can do now, and I'll bring up an example, the snow hill, the sledding hill that they were there, everything they're excavating from the detention ponds, they were just putting up in a big pile where the sled hill was going to be. So we're going to take the opportunity to look at that and say, since you're still not out to bid, let's shape that mound. You're going to have heavy machinery out there. Shape that mound so it's a sled hill day one. As soon as you're done, we can seed and everything. So we don't have to bring heavy machinery out there. So those are the benefits of kind of master planning this and doing these two projects parallel and having the right people on the team that we can kind of coordinate all these items and go through that. And we will be watching it during construction. I was there. And the only thing that would be extra, as we always said, is printing when we bought the bidding, and that's the standard throughout. I was also told soil testing. So soil testing is never in our project. That's a separate testing agency. You had it here for the road project. HR Green had informed us that going north of that site, you may encounter some bad soils. So because we're putting tennis courts and we don't want them to crack, and we're putting a pavilion, and we don't want the equipment sinking or falling and everything, we got to have a nice clay base there, something suitable. So we're going to be doing a couple of soil boring tests to make sure that if we have to scrape and replace and borrow clay from somewhere else, we're going to design it in the drawings, so it's not a change order later too. So we're going to try to narrow it down as best as we can.
A couple, just to give a clarification, so the PRI bid was based on 12% at a $1.6 million estimate in that original package. That was estimated at $278,000. If you compare that to the 9%, they'd be at $144,000, just to give you a test of the original estimate versus how it's coming in actually. And one other thing, that kind of that next phase, whatever we plan for 2019, you would need to go through the similar process of architectural design and engineering. So this is just for that overall generic master planning and then that active core. So those are the other future things.
And let me quickly explain. So that master planning, again, so everyone's on board. The goal is to figure out what needs to go out to bid this November for your best prices. Whether it be no projects or the fishing pond or the entire project, we want to make those decisions so that you can get the best prices as possible. So Trio will be pushing a little bit on getting some questions and answers from everybody.
I have one more question. Lighting, solar powered units, where does that come into play?
We had a discussion in terms of what would be out there. The current HR Green plan shows an empty conduit going from your power and water building, going out towards the tennis courts underneath the road. So it's good pre-planning. They put it in underneath the road so they didn't put that up or get anything there. So the question came up, what should we do in terms of lighting, security lighting, right? We got a gazebo out there and so forth, any of that stuff. But Mike and I talked and said, let's build this, design it, and as it's in there, right, because the road lights will be on now, right? You have lights along the road. Let's see how much light comes from there, and if it gives you enough coverage, that may suffice. But we put it in there in our services that we'd actually, instead of running brand new electric everywhere and kind of contaminating that, and even opening it up to saying that, hey, we're going to put in tennis court lights for overnight and everything. I know you were going to say. So, but we do want to plan ahead. If that's something that the village wants, and that's going to be one of the questions, you're probably hitting it really hard now. If you want lights in the future, I would plan for the least of positions now, so that we're not digging up any paths or anything like that. Your sensory garden, we're not doing anything. But for our position right now, we're just saying, if we can get some solar bollards around there, like maybe the sensory garden along some of the paths that provide some additional light, some little security light, if the road lights don't really cover it, then we can cover it. But those are still going to be quick decisions as we go.
Okay. All right, Madam Clerk, would you please call the roll?
Trustee Gray?
Aye.
Trustee Hepburn?
Aye.
Trustee Rogers?
Aye.
Trustee Nancy
Aye.
Trustee Barry?
Aye.
Trustee Sweet?
Aye.
And I also vote aye. As I can. Thank you, Jim.
Thank you.
Our last one is there any new business? Is there any old business? Is there a motion to adjourn?
I'll second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carries. We are adjourned.